I am about to be joined here any minute, I believe, by the man who's going to be closing us out. The great, the never late, Jason Scott. Is Jason here with us?
Jason's always here with you, Lane. Jason is. Oh, there we go. So we're gonna switch to. You wanted the late night, so we're gonna do that. Okay.
That's right. So I have called this Jason Scott's Sleepy Time Cave of Wonders.
That's right.
I don't worry about what Jason's going to do because Jason's going to do what Jason's going to do.
Yeah,
Jason is the software curator for the Internet Archive. He is a man of many other skills, talents, and personal histories. All you got to do is Google, folks, if you want to learn more. And the last thing I'm going to say before I turn it over to you, Daddy, is that we are still doing an hourly raffle for a special prize. You will be automatically entered if you donate $20 or more for this hour for a voicemail from Jason Scott. Right? Think about the pricelessness of that artifact. Okay?
Exactly.
Right. So let's see if we can raise a little more money. I'm going to go, and I'll see you back at the end.
Fantastic. All right, everybody. So I'm Jason Scott of the Internet Archive and Archive Team and textfiles.com and a bunch of other things. I cannot imagine there is anybody in this audience who hasn't heard of me in some way, but if you haven't, definitely say something in the chat and ask one weird question, and I will answer that weird question. This is an interactive hour we're going to do right here. So what I'm trying very much is to push everybody to understand the importance, the function, the work of the ROMchip Journal, but also how much farther we have to go, things that have happened in games and video games in the past bit of time, but also just to kind of have fun with it. Right now, here in lovely East Coast, it's currently 10 p.m. Now, one difficulty level bronchitis. I'm suffering from a flu that worked out a little bit to coughing, so a little bit of coughing might come out of me. You'll see me mute out. But when I'm not doing that, I can do my podcast voice. I have a podcast called Jason Scott Talks His Way Out of It, which I had to skip actually in January because I was sick, but I'll be doing it in February. There's hundreds of episodes out there. I've been doing it for 6 years. It's small, bite-sized thoughts about computer history, life, finding organization. For the people who don't know where I am right now, this is actually my office where I have everything from a U-matic and VHS, and you can't see it, but there's a cassette tape over there, piles and piles and piles of these lovely little guys that I'm dealing with, along with U-matic tapes, which if you've never seen a U-matic tape, they're pretty funky. That is a weird tape, right? And this will be something like, this is like Rolling Stones raw footage that I have to deal with. So I'm in the process of digitizing things. So I'm doing digitization, advocacy, sorting of things at the archive, you name it. That's what I'm up to. Now, why were we here, right? Well, we're getting here towards the end of a 12-hour stream for the ROMchip Journal. If nothing else, even if you don't have the funds and you don't have the scratch this month to help the ROMchip Journal during their marathon, please read the ROMchip Journal. Please give it a read. Give every article a read, because what you're getting there is properly sourced, properly copy edited video game analysis, either history or figures or cultures related to video games in a way that you're not going to get out of a site that is aimed towards what's called the gumball, the ads that you get to let you know that Call of Duty 47 just came out with a new Malibu Stacy hat. It is in fact focused on producing good articles and has been for years. And the reason that this whole thing is going on is that you are helping to fund it in a way that they're not including ads, they're not including considerations, they're not including paid articles, and they are also able to properly pay their copy editor, their staff, writers who can then spend a long time analyzing it. and writing an article that isn't based on being slotted in between the work they're doing elsewhere. That's incredibly important. So, I want to see that little blue graph underneath me. I want to see that sucker turn fully, because otherwise you don't get the pinata. Lane is sitting on top of this pinata with a Minecraft axe, and that sucker is going to be exploded when we turn this thing blue. So I know in there, think about doing a little extra, maybe a little $20, $50, $100. Let's just put this thing literally to bed. Now, for the people out there, last year we were starting to try to come up with like, how are we going to do something, to kind of engage people with this. All right. So, first of all, my my voice is a little bit roughed up from the coughing, but if you've ever heard my podcast voice, it's a little different than the voice you hear here and a lot of voice what I do. So I'm going to give you the introduction to my podcast because that usually flips people out when I do it. This is Jason Scott Talks His Way Out of It, a podcast about technology, history, and getting myself out of debt. So that's a voice that could be reading something to you. So if you're out there and you give us, I'm going to set it pretty high right now because as you can see, my voice is a little bit rough. So for $50, if somebody donates $50 and I get a verification on the chat on the green room that the $50 came in, and then in the chat you give me the paragraph, just make it a paragraph or a sentence that you want me to read right here, I'll do it. So that's sitting there as well. Now let me talk a little bit more about things in video games. So it was actually a very amazing year last year. There was another attempt. An attempt was made to designate the copyright office's status on preserving old video games. Now, on one level, you could say that we took out um, another attempt. We tried to make it that video games, if they're no longer sold, can be, copied and preserved, and it didn't work. But the point was, in doing so, uh, the Video Game History Foundation and others worked really hard to come up with hard numbers on the facts, not the idea, not the the Reddit post that claims this and the other thing was this. No, 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 no. This was a literal study to say, wow, most video games have never come back after their initial sale and cannot be bought. And it's not a case of being on Steam or being properly maintained. It's literally a problem. Now, again, they didn't buy in. It's kind of a monkey court to me, but I understand that you have to build a foundation of truth and a foundation of research. That's the hard work that needs to be done. And last year, a lot of people did that. We also had some really amazing prototypes. We had some amazing discoveries in terms of games or pieces of material that everyone thought was lost. I've been sitting in a chat sometime this year, some one of a kind materials. Not only you can't even say they were thought to be lost. Nobody thought this thing even existed, that some of these titles ever existed, but it turns out they did exist. So they'll be revealed this year. And those revelations come from the work of talking to people, working on various important pieces of, uh, 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 you know, material acquisition, I think is a big one. Getting your hands on file folders and diskettes and being able to read them, being able to make that work. That's the kind of real work being done in video games right now. I love the fact that right now in the chat, I've got Phil. Hi, Phil. Phil, I know you're heading home, but I'm thinking of you, Phil. Just want you to know that. So I see here it says JUN3163 wrote something. We've not done the feedback loop yet. So again, in the Ninja chat, if you folks get a $50 or higher donation from a person and then they write something in the chat, please let me know. So that's a small technical thing I just want the others to know. So absolutely, I will read a paragraph or a sentence if you do it. So if you see that, we'll do that. So we'll get some of those things in there. Remember, this is to shut things down. This is to get things going. This is to pull things up for where they are, right? Oh, the donate interface has a message box, says Snapman. My man Snapman. I have a secret Twitch channel where I play video games and rant. And I think it's very funny because Snapman is usually the only viewer. So Snapman always finds that I'm doing it. And then Snapman sees me punch the living life out of some weird video game. For example, I spent a not insignificant amount of time last year on Power Wash Simulator. I played a lot of Power Wash Simulator. If there's one personality that can start at one end of a corner of a huge sidewalk and then virtually remove it. Okay, so look, I beat Power Wash Simulator, then I beat the Shrek DLC, the Back to the Future DLC, the Warhammer DLC, and there's actually 4 more DLCs, and I have beat all of those as well. There is DLC. There is DLC. It's often like $1, $2, and Alice in Wonderland DLC. There's Christmas and holiday DLC. Oh, yeah. I've been going down. I mean, I appreciate look. I appreciate that you also beat Power Wash Simulator and that you were able to do it. But I just want you to know that I have beat the Power Wash extended universe. So, there are, what I love about Power Wash Simulator is the story arc, is the fact that there's this like whole thing happening in the town, and over time it gets crazier. So I'm a fan. Um, so look, I'm here to like chat with people on the piece there, but I can also go back to just talking about the video games. So you might, really think to yourself, we're done. We're done with video games in terms of we've gotten all the old ones. I can play all of these old cartridges. I can do all these old floppy disks. And I'll tell you, no greater illustration to me of where there is so much work that still needs to be done is in the Apple II work that has been done. Now, I can't pull it out, but I have a device here called an applesauce, and what it does is it overrides the programming of a floppy disk that enables you to read dozens of formats of floppy disks and do analysis on them. And a group of people have been doing this for years now, easily 10 years we're getting up on. And in doing so, we have been aggressively going after not just a few titles that were out there, but discovering. Okay, so again, you go down this rabbit hole, you get what you expect. There's something called silent versioning. That's a real problem in earlier games, 1980 to like 1990. And what that means is, they'd have a floppy disk copier, and the floppy disk copier would literally be like an image of a floppy disk, and then like anywhere between 4 and 16 floppy drives. And some poor person would put all of the disks into the floppy drive, and then they would duplicate it, and then they would put it into the packaging and they would send it out. And what would happen is that they would get to like say 500 or 800, and they would sell them to stores and department stores and software stores and others. And they would do that, and then the programmers would go, "Oh no, I found a bug," or "Oh, we can change the language," or "This needs to be fixed." And so they would just change it. And then the next set of like 500 to 1,000 would literally get another different version, and there'd be no way to tell. No way to tell. Did I just see what did I just see there? What was that? Who did that? Who did it? What was that? Did I just see us hit? Did I just see we hit the thing? Ah, classic. Classic. Well, the big question now is what am I reading? What am I reading? Okay, well, or we'll just say thank you. Um amazing. Well, folks, we are at what is it now? I do believe that we are currently sitting at 9,000. Wow. So we actually have a reasonably decent thing happening with that poor pinata in the back of Lane's video is going to be destroyed. So do we have a few other people who want to take us to the next level? What did we have for I think I can look this up actually on the yes, that's what it is. So we have um one more goal, and the goal is 11,000 for the year. And the goal behind 11,000 is simply more writers, more translators, more game history. So it's not one special thing, it's not one new person, it's not a guest. It's the fact that now they can go and they can tap somebody to say, "Okay, go spend a few months, really tell the story of this part of game history or this analysis," or being able to pay a translator to do an actual non-AI accurate translation of, say, a Japanese research paper or ads or other writings that have been found. Being able to do all of these other incredible pieces that we're able to do. So, honestly, we're able to do uh, uh, so much more with additional. We're really we're really we're really nailing it. So I want to know from Lane. Lane, what are you having me read? Um, Apparently it's Lane's choice. That's what it says. I could you folks can't see the other image, which is I can see it on the back end. I'm watching Lane like, what? Lane looks like a very concerned DJ who was just told that a guest has passed out in the in the restroom and is like, "Oh, keep it going, keep the beat going. Nobody, don't let anyone go." So Lane will hand me something to read, and I will, of course.
Hold on there, sir. We've got a link incoming. I was telling folks in the chat because of the largesse of our prior donor that we could maybe do a couple reads from things that folks would like to hear from. There is a link incoming from Shu Salad. Will be sending us something momentarily. I believe a little Smash Brothers fan fiction is coming your way. And then, I think we might be able to take this pony out. June3163, do you just want him to say that line?
I think you know what?
Just that set.
The largesse of this donation states that, you know what? I'm gonna let that one fly. So just to do it, because it's like, why not? Look, we're in good mood.
Why not?
Why not? We'll figure it out later. In 2020, Kermit the Frog took the internet by storm. So we'll just do that for you. Let's see. Wow.
I think that really just made someone's day.
I would not. I would not. I would like the. You can use that later for your rhetoric, Lane. That you made Jason Scott speechless. So we're. I think honestly,
I'm waiting for a link from Shoe Salad. For something for you to read. What books do you have immediately available to you at hand on your desk, sir?
Oh, on my desk. Oh, one moment. One moment.
Granny Forever. Oh yeah, core Granny texts, right? So now he's just wandering around in the background. So last year, I believe we did. What did we have Jason read? There was some. I believe there were some RFCs that got read. I believe there was a court filing related to the ESA DMCA shenanigans. Did we have him read a poem? Like a queer poem, or was that just like a personal fantasy I had? I thought there was more, but he seems to have procured some additional. What do you got there? Oh yeah, we did some reading from Lamb Party. Yeah, this is a great book.
This is a fun book. What I love about Land Party was that when I started to tell people about it, people were like, "Well, of course, Why wouldn't you have that? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, I love the books that come out, and I buy a lot of these books where people go, "Oh, I didn't know there wasn't a book on that." Like, I have a book on, romance games that somebody just finished. The book on LAN parties, books on like the Commodore 64 aesthetic, the books on video. I have a book here. I'm not going, but what am I going to read from it? Because it'll just be the alphabet. But I have a book of video game fonts, like just analyzing like how the different fonts are. There's some real crazy books out there, books you wouldn't know. Let me see if I can find something.
Are we gonna get that? I'm asking the chat. Are we gonna get that sweet Smash Brothers fan fiction, or do we need to let that go?
You gotta let
I'm
it
not pressing my head into this microphone like it makes something happen. It's
let it go, let it go. Smash Brothers not snuggling today. All right, let's see.
I should next time. I need to queue up my like Xena fan fiction earlier, right? I need to remember.
Yeah, really. In the photos collected in this book, then, we can see some things that have been lost, or at least forgotten. An adventurous spirit around computing, and a world in which ownership of software and play belonged to more than individuals, to individuals than corporations. I don't mean to suggest that LAN parties were utopian spaces. They were, of course, mostly, but certainly not exclusively, attended and organized by young white men, and even many of the larger events were male dominated spaces, hostile to women. Nonetheless, from my position, decades later, I can't help but look fondly on images of LAN parties. At a time when communications technology paradoxically seems to produce a sense of disconnection for many people through algorithmically generated echo chambers and the indexing of personal worth to follower counts or likes, seeing people literally coming together with and around computers is almost aspirational. So it's like so for anybody who's never seen this book, this is a book by Merritt Kay called LAN Party, and it's literally all these wonderful, analog photos of like events and LAN parties and kind of pushing back. And what's funny is when I deal with people who are not from that space, they get incredibly connected to this world they were never part of. I mean, for me, it's my own personal history, but for other people, it is a weird utopia of computing, and learning that, like, there are people who are now born who are in their late teens, early 20s. Um, you know, well, no, I may have thoughts on the Apple II age and going to church, but I think that you actually wrote things down, Lane. The last chapter of your book is like an attendance suicide note. That's what's really so great about it. It's like, and I'm never going.
You know what we should do, Jason? We should
What?
have you read one of my worst Amazon book reviews.
Oh, I can do that. Let's do that. Apple II age.
There is one written by like a East Coast VGH Vintage Computing Fest VCF guy. Sorry, getting my acronyms mixed. Whoa! Hey balls zero, kicking in.
All right, let me see what.
You can also get in here. I feel like you're.
I'm going through.
I mean, we can turn the lights on, whatever you like, Dave. I'm past.
Okay, I found it. I found your.
Hater error.
We'll read from this. I definitely think we should definitely. Where are we at now? We're at 10:30. I don't want you to smash that like button, aka the pinata. Just call the pinata like button. That's my name for it. We shouldn't smash it till the absolute end. We still got some ways to go with the stretch. So we'll see if more people. So while I'm sitting here reading an absolutely trashed review of Lane's book Apple II Age,
Do you know which
yeah,
one?
a disappointing and condescending take on computing history, which is called Sparkling Haterade, if it's from the New Jersey region of the United States of vintage computing. I think that's the one that you're talking about because it's like super
Yeah, it's very specifically offended about the epilogue.
Right. The rest of them are like, oh, it's got an agenda, and I'm like, oh, all those
because I
all those
mentioned that
other
Steve Wozniak is a man, and
all
then they
those
were like,
other all those
book
other
is woke.
well, even more than that, all those other non-agenda books about history. I wish I
So
liked this book and could recommend it, but I honestly cannot, and I struggle to think who the intended audience might be. Is the other one an agenda book rather than a history? And then
yeah,
there's the person who's like, this 300-page book could be a 1,000-word essay. And I'm like, all right. Look, here's the thing. If you're somebody who works, I'm going to tell this to people out there. So just sorry, keep it around there. Um, there are so many ups and downs when you create a work, when you focus on a project. It took me 4 years to make one of my documentaries. It took me 3 years to make the next one. It took me 2 to make the next one. These are years of your life working on a project, and you make them, and they have reaction from people because they see this body of work. You come along with like a full result of your months or maybe even years of work. And as a person who creates stuff, you get kind of super fascinated with when somebody is negative, but even more, it's one thing when they're negative. It's like one thing if it's like, look, I'm playing bluegrass and someone's like, man, bluegrass never did it for me. And you go, okay. And you go, this guitarist needs to go back to school and needs to learn basics because as somebody who's done this, I'm sorry, you can't, whatever. Those are the ones you want to. And then you get the ones where you're like, they're sitting at a keyboard, popping this out under their own name, and you're just fascinated that somebody would nail the 95 theses to your door. So that's where this spirit is coming from. But anyway, I'm gonna read this just because we think it's so. Lane's book is called Apple II, the Apple II Age, and it's about a function of the Apple II as a perceived cultural artifact and the people that it affects, and where does a computer play in the part of that. But also Lane likes to work very, very hard not to fall into a capitalist description where it's like, somebody had a Dippy Bird, and then the Dippy Bird sold $1 million a year, and then the Dippy Bird sold $500,000 a year, and then sold 22,000 a year. But people still have Dippy Birds, which is an extremely simple and straightforward story, and you can always find those. All right. Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to do 2 because I just can't resist it. So again, I just want people to know, if you go back and look, this thing has 49 ratings. 57% are 5-star, 16% are 4-star, 8% are 3, 10% are 2, 9% are 1. So that's the split if you want to go see it, Apple II Age. Misleadingly packaged with a surprise evil twist. If you have any fond memories of early microcomputers, especially the Apple II, pass this one by. The author presents a surprisingly joyless narrative of the invention of the Apple II and some key software, but only at the end of the nearly 300-page book do they admit that this has been a heist tailored to rob as many people as possible of their much-cherished faith in computing's primordial innocence by showing how compromised, fraught, and indifferent to all of us this history actually is. The packaging may mislead you into thinking this is another peek back to the days of creativity, wonder, access, and learning that early microcomputers provided, but the author has a specific agenda in mind. It's as though you picked up a book by Dan Brown, expecting a nice beach read, and instead got Herman Hesse's Beneath the Wheel. And God damn it, who of us hasn't done that? Who of us has not wanted to go read a Dan Brown book and just you rip off the cover and you're like, God damn it, it's another Herman Hesse book. Stop doing this to me. Jesus, could you do some Beneath the Wheel? What a heist. Anyway, let's go back. This is again for the fun. Again, I'd love to see that blue bar as we get towards the end of this move up while I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this. And I'm also looking at your chat.
Every dollar pays somebody right in game history.
By the way, I'm not really somebody who is, really entitled to talk about pronunciation, but I was fascinated that your first pronunciation of shoe salad was chusala. Anyway, that was great. All right. We're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do the fan fiction. I'm gonna do the other one. Somebody wants the ode to Luigi, and then we have the fan fiction. So we got that. All right. I'm gonna jump forward. The book ultimately fails to deliver on this promise, particularly in its condescending and dismissive treatment of history and modern-day subcultures of vintage computer enthusiasts. One of the most egregious aspects of this book is found in the epilogue, where Nooney critiques their experience at Vintage Computer Festival East. The festival, which is a cherished event for those who preserve and celebrate the history of computing, is portrayed by Nooney as little more than a gathering of out-of-touch hobbyists. This dismissal reflects a profound misunderstanding of the festival's importance. Far from being a mere nostalgia trip, VCF is a vital forum for the exchange of ideas, preservation of history, and the celebration of technical innovation. It's a place where the spirit of the Apple II lives on, not just as a relic, but as an object of ongoing exploration and learning. Nooney's portrayal of VCF and the broader community is outdated and irrelevant. Not only unnecessarily disrespectful, but it also suggests a deep-seated bias against the very people who have kept the history of computing alive. Their tone throughout this section is dripping with condescension, as they seem more interested in proving their own intellectual superiority than in understanding or appreciating the value of the subculture. It comes off as pseudo-intellectual drivel. This is like 100% organic intellectual drivel. Like, you're literally an intellectual. I think that's very funny. They're like, it's pseudo-intellectual drivel. And I'm like, no. Like, this is home-baked intellectual drivel. This is like,
this is like no preservatives, like, no filler, no cutter, right? This is like top-tier intellectual drivel.
This isn't somebody posting on Slashdot about something they learned about 5 minutes ago. This is you, like, easily 8 or 10 years in.
Oh, reading them for filth. Absolutely.
Posting full drivel based on actual citation. So anyway, that offends me on a personal level. It comes off as pseudo-intellectual drivel, presenting personal opinions as though they are universally accepted truths, with little regard for the rich, diverse, and meaningful experiences of the enthusiasts who attend this festival.
Yeah, there's many different kinds of hairlines that you can find at the Vintage Computing Festival.
Nooney's critique of the Vintage Computer Festival and the Apple IIh seems to be driven by a broader agenda against capitalism and the patriarchy, using the festival as a proxy to vent these frustrations. The epilogue comes across as an unnecessary diatribe, where the author appears more interested in attacking the socio-economic structures and gender dynamics traditionally associated with early computing than in offering a balanced or fair assessment of a modern living culture and its participants. Had the author actually taken an honest look at modern vintage computer enthusiast communities, they would have noticed that it was particularly inclusive and welcoming to gender diverse and LGBTQ plus individuals, often fostering a community where diversity is celebrated and everyone's passion for technology is respected and embraced. In fact, the book is so utterly lacking in substance and filled with misguided critiques that I threw it into the trash. The Apple IIh could have been a valuable addition to the history of computing literature, but its failure to engage meaningfully with the community it critiques, along with its dismissive tone, makes it a regrettable read. I like the concept of the regrettable read, but that's what I think that was the fulcrum of what I think really made you obsess about this particular review, Lane, was the idea of somebody, they finish the book and they go, and they toss it into a bin. Like, that is amazing. Like, I mean, I've got... Like,
you got to the last 8 pages and you threw in the trash. Like, cool.
I have all of these books, right? These are all, I mean, I've got some real honkers in this collection. All sorts of books, but I keep them to refer to them because they're part of the canon. You look at like what people are saying and you say, well, if I don't like this book, why don't I like it? And you don't just throw it into the trash. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible take on the book because the book does, like, I think what all the men who are angry about, they're like, this book is drivel. And I'm like, I'm the first person to interview Tom Snyder. I'm the first person to interview the guys who made the print show. Like, there is, like, just legitimately so much original factual information that to be so upset that you can't see that because, like, I said that someone was white, or like you didn't like the POV I had on the colonialism play of the fucking Vintage Computing Festival is like such a weird take. Yeah, I mean, that guy was really, he was coming for me. You okay, Daddy?
I'm pretty fine. I'm pretty good. No, I'm just I told you it's not painful to cough. It's just I have a trigger in my lungs right now that says you should cough. You clearly swallowed an entire chicken and you should get rid of it. Now we run into a problem here because in the fan fiction, this is actually a massive piece of fan fiction. Should I just be reading
just the first section, I think, or the first, not even the first section. Just the first section. I'm trying to open it and my Okay.
All right. We'll do the
What?
We'll do the opening. The deep inside the great maze. I can do that.
Okay.
It had been a long battle for survival, but he managed to stop the imbeciles from defeating him for real. Taboo, though, had been weakened during the battle. As he floated along in the void of subspace, surrounded by darkness and swirling purple and blue colors, he reflected on the disastrous end of the battle. Master Hand had shown up right before Taboo could terminate the big group of smashers. As a last-ditch attempt, the omnipotent Hand used his space-bending powers to recall each one of the smashers to their worlds, back into the past before they participated in the Brawl Tourney and the war against the subspace army. He then called Crazy Hand, and both of them escaped from Taboo's clutches, effectively putting a sudden end to the conflict for the time being. Unfortunately, not everything was right. Master Hand couldn't manage to save certain smashers. Roy, Pichu, and Mewtwo had been killed by Taboo in the ensuing battle. Furthermore, Rob seemingly betrayed them all by sliding back with Taboo. It became a huge disaster once Mr. Game & Watch had been caught once more. There was more. An unlucky smasher was captured as well in his trophified state. Master Hand didn't manage to save that one smasher, much to his chagrin. Taboo kept them as a prize, but he would use his unrequited help very soon. Taboo grunted. It felt like an empty victory against the Smash Force, but he could at least relax and recover his power. As he pondered about what to do, a figure rolled into view over the cracked black floor of purple outlines. It was Rob, or rather the ancient minister wearing his clothes. The robot was alone with the biggest threat the universe faced, but there was complete and absolute trust between the two of them. The ancient minister looked up at his boss. Lord Taboo, he began, what is your next course of action? Taboo remained silent for a few minutes until he spoke. My next course of action is to mobilize the army beyond this realm. He managed to seize the land down below, even though I was weakened in this big battle. The minister looked down. Is it going to take you a lot of time before your powers are back, right? Is it? It is going to take you. Sadly, that is the case, Taboo said, nodding, his body glitching a bit. But until then, no one can reach us. It is dangerous for anybody to enter this place knowing that I rule it. I will muster up my power to create an ideal place for our base of operations. You, however, will be in charge of the outside world. The minister looked up and nodded. Yes, I will gladly reassume control over the facility, he said. Just give the word and we shall move out. I had my eyes on the other worlds, Taboo said, the worlds that those accursed smashers come from. I wish to conquer them all before they even have a chance to reunite and assemble their force, he explained. Once we have gathered enough worlds, we shall move on and conquer the biggest one there is, What? The minister said. Oh, you mean the rumored real world? Yes, you catch on very fast, Taboo said. It is the real world that is the real prize behind the entire war. Those fools do not even know about the real world existing, but they are missing the big picture. He turned around. Ancient minister, begin preparations to invade one of their worlds. The faculty is slowly being taken over. Out from the subspace. I want a subspace bomb to be deployed in Ness's world. The minister nodded and turned around, moving away from his boss. It shall be done, he said as he vanished in the darkness. And so begins my long struggle to work with this person once more, the ancient minister thought to himself. This isn't the time to rebel again. I need to find the right time. The Gathering Saga begins. All right, now the next one is Ode to Waluigi, which I believe I read last year.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, it's a perennial classic. So here's a link. I just popped it into the chat.
Oh, no, I got it. We got the other secret chat. Oh, for everybody else.
Yeah.
All right, give me a moment to cough and we'll do this. Grade 4 winner, Sam Daly. Ode to Waluigi. Oh, purple mustached, clever Waluigi, thou art such a genius when it comes to thy time to attack Mario and Luigi. How thou attach springs to thy shoes, know I not. Why dost thou not have thy own video fame? Art thou enraged that thou dost not have one? Why dost thou fight the Mario brothers? Thou art negative and wicked when shooting fireballs at thy green plumber, thy foe. Why art thou always cranky? Art thy purple knickers in a knot? Perchance Alvin Earthworm annoyed thou with his YouTube video. Why art thou so tall and slim? Perchance a power flower fell in your mouth when thou wast a baby. Why dost thou wear a purple suit? I like thy violet outfit for its unique hue. Shouldst thy brother Wario and thou fight so repeatedly? Is Bowser the Dragon Turtle your fiendish companion? I dost wonder what it wouldst be like to be friends with Bowser and thou. Dost thou own the vicious Petey Piranha flower? Dost thou like the kind Princess Peach? If thou could own a Yoshi, wouldst thou? Thou art so sly and crafty, our slippery Waluigi. Thou dost fight Gino the Explorer dangerously. Why art thou not in Super Smash Bros. Brawl? Perchance thou art sad for being excluded from that rough game. Why art thou so nimble when thou escape the police? Thy symbol is an upside-down L. Oh, thou art sneaky, secretive, and tricky, mine own Waluigi.
I mean, is there anything else to say?
That rough game! Let me see if any lines need me again.
It's beautiful work. It is
a beautiful work. There it is. I'll do a separate read. You know, I hired the Halo guy to say my handle, and he gave like multiple reads. Jeff Seitzer.
Like different emphases.
Yeah,
is that a thing you can do on like Cameo or?
Yeah. So I hired Jeff Seitzer to do readings of my handle and my friend Uberlito's handle, and he was just like, sketch the cow. Uberlito, but he did like 2 reads, so he was like Uberlito. So let me just do a couple other reads. If thou couldst own a Yoshi, would thou? And what's the other one? Yeah, here's a good clip for somebody out there. Why art thou not in Super Smash Bros. Brawl? All right, so. Wouldst thou donatest to ROMchip Journal? All right. So where are we at? Where are we sitting at? We're sitting at. Oh, we're
sitting at 9.205,
which is no
69 cents. That's important detail.
Of course, always. If somebody just donates $420, we could move on to the next piece there, or $1,337.
We would need about 1.4K. I think everyone has earned. I think we are 10 minutes out from call time.
Yeah.
So I think everyone has earned their smashed pinata. That's what I think we've all earned. Should I turn the lights up? Would that make it easier?
Yeah, turn the lights up. It's actually, I mean.
Yeah, Dave, I don't have it on a string this year. I was just going to smash it on this table, but do you think I should tie it to something instead?
Hey, back back channel angels working on the back. You should give Lane the full video. You can keep my audio on, but definitely give Lane the full video, because clearly we want to see this. Before this happens, Lane, we want the full Monty. So
we got the one up now. Dave, are you afraid to hold it?
Don't miss and hit the balls.
All right. We got that. I bought this at the party store 2 days ago. All right. Okay. All right. No, hold him upright. Like, I want to see. There we go.
All right.
Unicorn.
Pretend it's that person who wrote the bed review.
I have mixed feelings observing this.
Congratulations. Woo! All right. Oh my Christ.
9K.
Woo,
Pour it out.
9K.
Pour that out. Pour out the goodies. Pour out the goodies on the table, if there are any.
Definitely. There's stuff in there.
It could be more broken.
Yeah, it could be. Couldn't it?
This really needs This Is America playing in the background. Unfortunately, Twitch really won't allow that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Smash them goodies.
Whoa.
Shout out to the poor man who has to vacuum my carpet. Okay, all right. All right, everybody. It's full of ads for the ZipRecruiter. Why would the pinata be full of ads for ZipRecruiter, Phil? That's so complicated. All right, I have one last spiel. First of all, I'm going to thank utterly everyone for being here. Good Lord. Another incredible 12-hour day, just at the Twitch Minds. For the 44 of you who are still on this stream, incredible work. Thank you for joining us here.
Amazing.
Before I head out, I have to definitely thank especially some extra special donors, our patrons. These are folks who gave our highest tier donation very early on to help get the ball rolling, to give us some momentum. This was Nolan Filter and Maxwell Neely Cohen. Patron status means a lot. It's our highest tier. We're trying to do this thing where it's like getting away from this idea of charity and more to this idea of ongoing commitment to an ecosystem, right? That as one of us gets to succeed, we share the wealth. I also want to thank all of our early donors, folks who donated money in advance of the live stream that got us to the momentum. So this would be, and here I go, and if I mispronounce your name, I am so sorry. I've had 2 balls today. So Kendra Albert, Corey Burns, Matt Clausen, Travis Foss, Maxwell Foxman, Gordon Frischlid, Curtis Fry, Chaim Gingold, Dave Guida, Matt Knudsen, Lillian McIntyre, Sabertail, Sue Murray, Paolo Paderosini, Chris Persaud, Jeff Peterson, Liz Petrick, Benjamin Ragheb, Eric Salvaggio, John Sharp, Andy Urich, Jose Zagal, Ben Zotto, and then our collection of anonymous donors who I just name after various fruits: Anonymous Starfruit, Anonymous Banana, Anonymous Mango, Anonymous Raspberry, Anonymous Cantaloupe. We want to thank our friend and sponsor, MIT Press, for all the books. The way that the raffle has to go down for legal reasons is we have to wait for anyone who wants to submit online, over the mail, to mail us a postcard. You can mail us a postcard. If you go read the raffle rules, you can mail a postcard to our business address, and we will tell us which book you want to be considered for, and that, you will be entered into the raffle that way, as long as it's postmarked by Monday. So we will we will kind of pull the numbers in like 2 weeks time, and then we'll let everyone know, and we'll get your books out to you as soon as we can. Big thanks to Balls for sending me an entire box of these, keeping me fueled through this long, strange day. And there is no party without the people on the back end. Cody,
Yeah.
our technical director.
Can we get them bound? Is it possible to technically have them appear?
I
Can they appear?
I don't know. I know we have a setup for a 4-up. It's really up to them. You know,
You guys want to come out of the shadows, or do you want us to look like we're insane?
You know, it's.
You'll come on audio. Okay, that's fine. Are you on audio? Say hello if you are.
Yeah, so these are folks. So Cody Wilson is our technical director. Consort is our talent coordinator. And you know, Phil, when I first came up with this ridiculous idea of funding an academic journal through a Twitch stream, Phil connected me with Cody, and Cody has been a marvel. I've learned so much about how to do this. Cody brought in Conway, and you know, both of you have like really taught me how to, like, I didn't know how to do this. Baby didn't know anything. And so you guys were incredibly patient, and you've continued to be like just like so wise and humble and talented, and a real pleasure to work with. You know, 2 years in a row now. You have my total deepest appreciation. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Consort. These are the folks who make the whole thing happen, including that donation bar. Oh, it's below me. I'm pointing at my own monitor. I've lost it. I should really go to bed by now. That was Consort in the background.
And I do want to say, which we have not actually, I don't think it's even on the script or anything, but I do want to say to people, they don't close the bank account at midnight at this place. So if you're a paycheck away, or you gotta wait because you're trying to see how things are and settle, you can donate all year. They appreciate it. They can use it anytime. It's not a time sensitive thing. There's not some reporting mechanism where they're like, if we don't get this by the end of February, you know, we can't take the money. It's not like a sweepstakes and a postcard. They'll happily take your money anytime. So if you want to be part of that, you can always do part of that. But we have made such an incredible jump tonight, where we have gone to being able to fund ROMchip for the year and be able to do additional work. And the more work that comes in, the better it gets, the more things that happen. But you're going to get ROMchip Journal, and you're going to get it for at least another year, and you're going to enjoy it. I like the head of the unicorn, by the way. That really.
Yeah, I gotta get Dave to like bring it over enough to. There you go. Keep stretching, buddy. There we go. Hi. Hey,
well, now that just looks now that just looks creepy. Congratulations, you've created ROMchip After Dark. Okay, there we are.
This is my crown.
Now, just for the record, internet daughter, that is actually what I do with the heads of my enemies. When people are like, "How are you doing today, Jason?" and I'm like, "Well, I'm just wearing the head of this."
Wear them upon my head.
Yep. Looks
so
good.
Also a thing you can do is I didn't talk about this feature a lot on the stream, but there is a like recurring donation option where folks can donate like $5, $10 a month, and that just comes to us, the same way it would like a Patreon or something like that. That's and we love that renewable income. So
we got a couple of those, don't we?
Yeah, we got 2 new ones this year. So we're now up to like $12.50 a month, which is, we didn't have that 24 hours ago. So that's amazing. Otherwise, is there anything else? I felt like there was something else to say. I've forgotten it. I'm wearing a pinata in my head now. I don't got much left.
Well, I'll tell you, one thing that is absolutely great is that they'll have the numbers later, but the fact that like many dozens of people stopped by today, and at least in a small number of people, I definitely saw them where today was ROMchip birthday for them. This was the day that they learned that there was a thing called ROMchip, and that it was doing academic work in video games, and that it was already producing stuff, and they're going to go read it, and that's amazing. I will tell you that working for the Internet Archive and working with groups that do donations, I'll tell you that we really benefit benefit from recurring donations. Not necessarily a case of like this is better than that. I mean, if somebody gives you $1,000, they give you $1,000. But if they give you $100 every month, that looks better on everything. It looks better in terms of understanding where your funding is. It looks better in terms of watching recurring donations happen. It tells you that it sends a message of like not just like I had an impulse, but like I want to support you every month, and that's really important, both on a morale and psychological boost to see that money coming in, and also though, we'll stress it again. There's no paywall. There's no access fee. You're not paying, $75 an article because a headline attracted you. You just get ROMchip. It just shows up. It's there. So like that continues to be the case. We didn't pay this money specifically to open it. It was open. What you paid for was to maintain that it was going to be more than the amount of issues that it did. And it's been going along fantastically. And there's been some really great articles over the years, and there will now continue to be great articles, which is fantastic. We're actually, by the way, because I always worry about your health, Lane, got to swaddle you up. We are actually technically at 12 hours and 1 minute.
You worry about my health, sir?
I worry about your health,
sir.
If this was an RPG, I would be this brightly colored bard swaddling a small unicorn-headed child.
It's like Dave's going to take me out for a shot now.
As the burning fires of an encampment ahead means that out in the rain. It's in the rain, and you can see burning fires ahead. And I have swaddled you because it has been 12 hours, and I'm like, we just have to get Lane. Lane will now live another day and become the leader of this tribe, and I'm just trying to get there. So that's what I'm just trying to do. I'm just pointing out you're at 12 hours. And that is amazing.
This is easier than it looks, guys.
Phil just wrote, "Wash that shot down with some cherry cola balls." Phil, that's a war crime. I don't know where you live.
The rest of the balls for next year. So I think they must age like a fine wine.
They must, yeah, exactly. The only thing better than balls is 1-year-old balls. The only thing better than 1-year-old balls is 27-year-old orbits. So if you can't get orbits, you're just going to have to deal with...
Let me go to my ball cellar and pick out a good vintage.
Well, finally...
Ball cellar. I must have your strongest balls.
All right, so here we go. I'm going to burn down a forest. If I love...
Oh, no. Don't use AI. Don't ruin this stream by using AI. Sure.
And I'm not ruining the stream. I'm ruining the training data because I'm asking about and it ages for 20 years. What should I call the new elixir? There we go. Anyway, it actually used the phrase reasoning. Yeah, as usual, I burned down the forest for nothing. Okay. But bear in mind, here's my thing. Here's my thing about AI. Like, what I think is funny to me is how, for one brilliant flaming time in history, bosses, people in charge, folks who fashion themselves as leaders of thought, looked at makestuffup.exe, looked at their years-long workforce and said, I will replace you with this at the first opportunity. That's my favorite moment. My favorite moment is that there was a Dippy Bird pressing the D button and somebody said, I want to hire this. I don't know what you do. I want to hire this. And they just all revealed. So when it crashes as a thing you want to have done, they're going to be like, oh, no, I mean, we're family. We're family here. We're all family.
Jason, so I just realized there's exactly one swallow of I can't say that out loud. I never have and I won't start now. Can't make there's one swallow of this fine drink left. And this is how we're gonna end the stream, okay?
Remember, there's no better way to end the ROMchip stream than with a big hearty swallow of balls. Okay. Well, that's
and
it.
we're out. Okay.
Yeah, Phil just wrote balls out. That's where we are. We're at balls out. Calls out for balls
Nancy
out.
Mark, everybody. Love you. We'll see you here soon. I absolutely promise.
Thanks, everybody for your donations. We will not forget you. Bye-bye.
Bye.